Well, hello, everyone. Thanks very much for taking the time out of your day to join us for an update on the Billings Bypass project. Thanks for participating in this Zoom meeting. We certainly appreciate it. The same information will also be shared in person this evening at the Montana Pavilion in Metro Park. The public is invited to drop by anytime between 5:30 and 7:30 if you would like to visit with the project team. Before we get started, I have a couple housekeeping items. We'll be fielding questions using the Q&A function. That's the button that looks like the speech bubble at the bottom of your screen. Questions that are applicable to the general public will be addressed live during this meeting. To be respectful of everyone's time, if your inquiry is specific to your property, a project team member will follow up with you directly in the next day or so. Please also feel free to add any other comments that you wish be heard by the project team using that same Q&A button. To have an accurate record of all of your feedback, we still need to funnel all of the questions and comments through that Q&A function and won't be using the raise hand tool for today's meeting. Following the meeting, you'll also be welcome to offer thoughts and ask questions using the project hotline, email address, or physical address. We'll provide those at the end of the presentation. And we will accept public comment related to this meeting for 30 days following. And finally, it's important to note that this meeting is being recorded and will be added to the project website for future reference for anyone who wasn't able to attend today. This project has been and continues to be a big lift that has involved a lot of team member partners, consultants, and contractors. Thanks to everyone for your involvement, and we look forward to working with a growing team as construction continues. So on behalf of the entire project team, a handful of Montana Department of Transportation and Dowell representatives are here with us today. Rod Nelson, the MDT Billings District Administrator, and Doug Anderson, the Design Project Manager with Dowell, will be presenting. Also with MDT, Fred Bente, Billings Bypass Project Manager, Mike Taylor, Pre-Construction Engineer, and Michael Fabricius, Right-of-Way Supervisor, are here as panelists. My name is Lisa Olmsted, and I'll be facilitating today's meeting. With that, I'll pass the baton to Rod to get the conversation started.
Well, thank you, Lisa, and thank you everyone for joining us today. My name is Rod Nelson. I'm the Billings District Administrator for the Montana Department of Transportation. Public involvement is a vital part of everything we do at MDT. So we are very appreciative of the opportunity today for sharing with you this very important project and you sharing with us your questions, comments, and concerns. Before we begin talking about the specifics of the Billings Bypass, I want to briefly discuss a strategy that MDT adopted on all roadways in Montana. It's called Vision Zero. Tragically, this year, there has been 205 fatalities on Montana roadways so far. Vision Zero is a strategy to eliminate these fatalities and serious injuries while increasing safe and healthy mobility for all. When talking about Vision Zero, we often refer to the 5 E's as essential components. They're education, enforcement, emergency services, engineering, and last, everyone. The Billings Bypass project is utilizing the engineering component to Vision Zero. But we also want to talk to you about the 5th component of Vision Zero, and that is everyone. We need to eliminate fatalities and serious injuries on the roads in Montana. We need everyone to do their part. We need everyone to be attentive. We need everyone to drive sober. We need everyone to drive to the conditions and not speed. And we need everyone to use their seatbelts. By doing these simple things, we can eliminate these very tragic and unnecessary deaths from happening. So now, back to the Billings Bypass. As Lisa already mentioned, the Billings Bypass is being developed with MDT by a team of companies. Each of these companies have professionals that bring expertise to the different components of this project, everywhere from the environmental impact statement to the roadway design, to the bridge design, and to the construction techniques utilized to build each one of the project segments. One of the main reasons we wanted to have this meeting today is to provide everyone with an update on the status of the Billings Bypass and the changes that are occurring as this project continues to be developed. There are 2 primary updates that we want to discuss with you. The first being a schedule update on the railroad overpass and the Johnson Lane interchange, and the second is a design update on the Johnson Lane interchange. I'm going to talk with you about the schedule update, then Doug Anderson will be speaking with you about the design update. After that, we will open up the meeting to a question and answer forum. So for the schedule update, as you can see on the screen, the Billings bypass is comprised of 6 individual segments. Each segment is labeled with a number that corresponds to the order in which they're planned for construction. The first segment, located at the top of the list, is 5 Mile Road. The 5 Mile Road segment was completed last fall. This project reconstructed and extended 5 Mile Road and included a roundabout on Old Highway 312, along with a stop-controlled intersection improvement at Dover Road. The second segment of the Billings bypass is the Yellowstone River Bridge. This segment is currently under construction, and it includes both the bridge over the Yellowstone River and a roundabout that will connect a new roadway and bridge to 5 Mile Road. The bridge will also include a 10-foot wide bike and pedestrian path across the Yellowstone River, along with 2 separate facilities that cross under the roadway that allow a connection between Dover Park that is located on both sides of the new roadway. The public can view the live construction of this bridge by going to an MDT's website that provides an access to a webcam where you can view the live construction. So after that, there are 4 segments that still need to be constructed. The first being the railroad overpass segment that is labeled with a number 3 and is planned for construction in the year 2022. This segment will build a new bridge over the railroad and also over Colson Road. The 4th segment is the Johnson Lane Interchange segment. It will reconstruct the existing diamond interchange with a new diverging diamond interchange. This segment has a tentative construction date in the year 2023 and is currently being developed by both Dowell as a design firm and by Granite and LHC as the construction companies, utilizing a process that is called CMGC, which is an abbreviation for Construction Management General Contractor. The diverging diamond interchange design brings a number of advantages over the existing diamond interchange, with one of the primary advantages being increased safety as a result of reduction in the number of locations where vehicles can be in conflict with each other. The 5th segment is the portion that connects the railroad overpass segment to the Johnson Lane Interchange segment. This is planned for construction in the year 2024, and it features a new arterial roadway with connections to Colson Road, Johnson Lane, and to Sandon Boulevard. And the last project segment, labeled as number 6 in the connection, is the connection from 5 Mile Road to US 87 in the Heights. It has a tentative construction date of 2025, and it will be located north and mostly parallel to Mary Street. The intersection of US 87, Main Street, and Old Highway 312 will be reconstructed to accommodate the connection with this segment of the Billings bypass. So to summarize the update to the schedule, the railroad overpass segment is now scheduled to begin construction in the year 2022 instead of the year 2023. This adjustment will allow the public to use the new Yellowstone River Bridge and the railroad overpass as soon as they're both completed. In order to accommodate this schedule adjustment, we need to move the construction of the Johnson Lane Interchange segment from the year 2022 to 2023. This will also allow for additional property owner coordination on this segment. It's important to note the schedule adjustment will not impact the overall completion of the entire Billings bypass project. So once again, the railroad overpass segment is moved from the year 2023 to 2022, and the Johnson Lane Interchange segment is moved from the year 2022 to 2023. Thank you, and please let us know if you have any questions or comments on this update. And now Doug is going to talk to you about the design update on the Johnson Lane Interchange segment.
Sounds good. Thanks, Rod. First, let's take a half a step back, and since the railroad overpass segment is going to be the next segment to go to construction, I want to provide a couple of project highlights, design highlights on that one, since it will be the next one that goes. As Rod said, it begins on the south end of the railroad, or excuse me, the Yellowstone River Bridge segment. Here highlighted in number 2, and hopefully you can see my cursor on the screen here. It will be a 2-lane facility that I'll expand on a little bit more, that extends south and east. It will rise up and cross over the railroad tracks and Colson Road, and then continue and can touch back down to existing ground just south of Colson Road. As Rod mentioned, there will be a connection to Colson Road, so that the bridge and in segment number 3 here has utility. And so there will be a temporary connection through a series of right and left-hand turns to be able to connect to Colson that will be constructed temporarily until segment 5 is constructed to connect to the Johnson Lane interchange. This phase currently is in its final design phase. We call this internally the right-of-way phase. So we're wrapping up the design, and then we will, right-of-way and utility negotiations are ongoing. So taking that a step further, one thing that we've mentioned in the past, we are currently will be designing, constructing a 2-lane facility, so 1 travel lane in each direction with 8-foot shoulders. But we are reviewing and planning for a 4-lane, an ultimate 4-lane facility in the future. So we're securing right away for that, the full 4-lane facility. And then a quick review of what the structure looks like, spanning over the existing railroad tracks and Colson Road. So this graphic that you see here would be as if you were standing to the south and to the north and to the east of the interchange, kind of looking back to the southwest, and almost standing, on the tracks of sorts. And there's the existing main line track right there, and there's existing Colson Road. We've also been in coordination with Montana Rail Link and BNSF, who own and manage the railroad, and to make sure we're spanning enough distance such that they have we can span or provide enough width for future track expansion. So what you see here is our plan for the structure. It's about 730 feet long. So another expansive bridge, roughly about half the length of the Yellowstone River Bridge, but still in terms of bridge length, 730 feet is quite the distance. So those are a few of the highlights for the railroad overpass segment. Let's now jump into Johnson Lane Interchange. As Rod mentioned, we've got some design changes that we're excited to present to you today. Hopefully, this is not new news to everyone. We've done quite a bit of outreach effort, but this is kind of the culmination of all of our recent design decisions and outreach efforts that are ongoing. So again, a quick summary. Rod had mentioned some of this too, but this will be a diverging diamond interchange. With the constraints that we have as far as right-of-way and development on all the corners, trying to find the safest interchange configuration that handles the amount of traffic that's currently being processed in the interchange and anticipating future growth. A diverging diamond through a process of evaluating multiple types of interchanges boiled to the surface for us. Just as a quick reminder, and we have some videos on this that are available on our website of how that works. If you're northbound on Johnson Lane, you can easily make a right turn and connect to eastbound I-90 here, or you cross over traffic and make a left turn basically onto the westbound on ramp. And same thing for southbound folks, where you can get on the interstate here or cross over and make a safe maneuver onto the interstate. And as Rod mentioned, that's a safe configuration because there's less conflicting vehicles for vehicles crossing over one another. One thing that's not maybe as apparent here too that is worth mentioning is right now the interstate goes over top of Johnson Lane. That will still be the configuration. Just for illustration purposes, though, we've shown Johnson going over the top, so you can see what that diverging diamond actually looks like. But the interstate will still go over the top of the existing Johnson Lane like it does now. Again, we are in the right-of-way phase for this project. So final design is wrapping up. And then we'll be moving on and then also working on utility and right-of-way negotiations. Now, as you can imagine, right-of-way negotiations are confidential. Some owners have been contacted right as of right now, and others will be contacted in the very near future. So yeah, if you're one of those property owners within any of these locations, please be patient, and somebody will be contacting you soon if they haven't already. And just, I guess, to highlight too, to make the entire interchange work, we looked at operations of the road network in and around the interchange, and to make everything work, there was some ancillary improvements that had to be made to Old Hardin, to Johnson, extending north and south to the north frontage road, to Cola Street, to Beecraft Street, and in addition to Shannon Boulevard out here, kind of on the northeast side of the project. So let's dive into those a little bit. Taking a half a step back, last time we had a public meeting, this was the design that was presented. A couple of things to keep an eye on was a three-legged approach here with the north frontage road. North frontage road to the east would be Shannon Boulevard, and a cul-de-sac would be constructed here with the frontage road maintained. And Cole Street here would connect to Beecraft Lane. After some further analysis and design, we've got a couple of changes there to present. And the major highlights here are the addition of the fourth leg to the east with the north frontage road that connects to the existing north frontage road, and then a reconfiguration of the Cole and Beecraft intersection right here. So let's take a little bit deeper dive into what that looks like. Well, there you go. There's what those segments look like highlighted that are substantially different from the last time that we've talked about this and presented this to everyone. So zooming in a little bit here, here's the configuration of this intersection with the north frontage road and Johnson Lane on the north end of the interchange. Again, we will basically abandon the north frontage road through here, which is this white alignment right here, and curve in and connect with this intersection as proposed that was proposed last time. With that, we've got dual left turn lanes, through lanes, and right turn lanes. We've got connection to the existing Firth Street right here for the folks that have businesses and live along Firth. And then we have the dual receiving lanes to the west, and then the left, right, and through lanes that are approaching the intersection from the west. This intersection here will be forecasting a lot of traffic with development on both sides, with the presence of truck stops, things like that. So we made sure that operations and the signal timing were going to work and not back up traffic and potentially compromise the operations of the signals at the diverging diamonds and the ramps here. So dual northbound lefts, dual throughs, and a dedicated right turn lane, and then similar configuration southbound. These graphics will also be available tonight if you would like to discuss further. So we can zoom in. They're printed a little bit bigger for consumption tonight at the public meeting. And then also Cole Street and Beecraft, like I said, out there existing right now. Beecraft connects to the intersection for those that drive through here quite a bit as traffic backs up at the Johnson and Old Hardin intersection. Traffic also backs up on Beecraft, especially in the AM, in the morning rush hour traffic. And then of course in the PM, it's a very similar scramble getting off the interstate, getting through this intersection and getting onto Beecraft. So we were looking for ways to help alleviate that. This was one way that we felt that we could do that, in addition to some more coordinated signal timing through the signals through here. Cole Street and Old Hardin also being a new signalized intersection in concert with these signals through here. And then also providing, right now, Cole Street does exist. You may not believe me, it appears to be a drive approach for the existing development right here, but it is actually dedicated right away for a road, for a county road. And so we will be constructing that road connection as part of this project. The one configuration here, though, to keep an eye on is this configuration here. So if you're westbound on Beecraft, Beecraft will actually just turn into Cole and feed into the signalized intersection, which will make for a safer maneuver towards the Old Hardin and Johnson intersection and ultimately the interchange. One item to highlight is the intersection here with Beecraft and Old Hardin. This is what we will call a 3/4 approach, where you can still take a right in, a right out, and a left in, but the left out will be restricted because of the amount of traffic that is anticipated to be queued at the signal here, backing up, waiting for their turn to proceed to the intersection. So in the PM peak, when there's quite a few cars that want to head home, there's two options for them, especially for folks getting off the interstate. Come to the intersection here. You can proceed to the intersection onto the Cole Beecraft connection here and continue on, or even make the right turn here, make another right turn here, and continue on. So yeah, that concludes my presentation of some of the details that are highlighted. I'll turn it over to Lisa now to finalize our presentation.
Okay, so all of our contact information is on the screen. And at this point, if you have any questions or comments to ask the team, to contribute to the team, now is the time. We have no questions in our Q&A currently. But we certainly want to chat with all of you. Hopefully, yeah. Maybe there's so much information you all have no questions. The website is updated regularly, though, so I would take a note of that address and check it here and there, because we do always update with construction status, any updates that happen to the project. Do check there every so often, because we are updating it on a regular basis. And the email and the hotline that are shown there on the screen come straight to me. So if you have any questions and want to talk to a human, use those as well. No questions?
So one thing highlighted here on the screen is that path on the bridge structure. A cool milestone to share with everybody. Rod had mentioned it, but the last deck pour for that Yellowstone River Bridge happened yesterday. So kind of exciting milestone now that the bridge deck is complete. They will be next steps will be completing all these crash railings and the pedestrian railings on the deck itself. So fun little anecdote to share with everybody.
That is cool. So Doug, what is the speed limit going to be on the new roadway?
Yeah, good question. 45 miles an hour is what it will be posted for. $45 miles an hour for the entire length of it. Some sections will be 2 lanes, some sections will be 3 lanes, depending on other traffic maneuvers, turning movements that will be necessary. The one location that is built to the ultimate width is the Yellowstone River Bridge. That is a 4-lane structure going across for 2 reasons. One, permitting across the Yellowstone River is a heavy lift, and also bridges aren't going to be any cheaper as we go forward. So the decision to build the ultimate structure now was made during the design process. The other thing too about the railroad overpass structure is that will be built to a 2-lane structure, accommodate the road on both sides, with the ability to be expanded in the future. The clearances that we are anticipating for that will allow for additional width of that deck in the future as traffic warrants a widening.
But the roadway, they're all being constructed as 2-lane. Is that correct?
That's right. 2 12-foot lanes and 8-foot shoulders.
But designed at their full bore width or 4-lane or 5-lane width? What is?
Sorry, what was the question?
Oh, but they're being designed as 4-lane for their full build out. So it'll be ready to go if the traffic merits it, right?
That's right. That's right. Right away is being secured for a full 4 or 5-lane roadway, depending on which segment we are in.
Not a single question yet, you guys. Rod, what are your key takeaways on the project? What are you excited about?
Well, Doug mentioned the Yellowstone River Bridge, and I think that is a very worthy thing to mention. I don't know if I had mentioned that there's a webcam out there for people to go and view and kind of watch the construction. I mean, it's not very often, and certainly hasn't been done very much in the past, where a person has the ability to actually watch live and see how a bridge is actually constructed. There's a lot of very interesting features, construction techniques that are used in order to build a project like this. And if you're interested, I would highly encourage to go out there and find that webcam out there. You can go to MDT's internet website, go to the Billings bypass, and on there's a link to the project camera and to take a look.
Yeah, that's fun. You can watch the entire sequence. It's really interesting to watch the whole thing. Mike, how about you? What are you excited about with the project?
Yeah, this is a really unique project to be a part of. Anytime you have a new alignment, you get to build a new segment of the roads. This one also has a divergent diamond component to it, as well as a CMGC. So those are two things that are new to Montana, at least new to me. So learning a lot about that CMGC process, and excited to see a divergent diamond get built in Montana. If you haven't been through one, they're pretty efficient and a lot safer than our normal interchange design, and can move a lot of traffic. So those are the two highlights I think of most when I think about the Billings bypass.
Yeah, great answers. The CMGC, it is a really interesting collaborative experience. Okay, well, we still are, let's see, we have one comment. What about the utility relocation on Johnson Lane? Mike, do you want to touch on that?
Yeah, thanks for the question, Ryan. Yeah, so the utility relocation is pretty complex, especially when we get down around Johnson Lane. There's a lot going on there. So once we get close to going to construction with that, we'll start with some of our relocation efforts, and that'll take place with a separate contract with each of the utility owners. So that may start a little bit sooner than the actual construction of the bridges over the interstate, around the interstate, I should say. So in Johnson Lane, like Rod mentioned earlier, it was moved to 2023. So I would expect you'd see some of the utility relocates to start happening early in that year.
Great, thanks, Mike. So as a reminder, the video of this presentation will be added to the project website. So if you know anyone that wants more information, please direct them there. Like we mentioned before, we will be doing an open house with the same content on panels and the entire project team that is participating in this event will be at the Montana Pavilion at Metro Park from 5:30 to 7:30. And that is open house format, so you can drop by whenever is convenient. The intent is to be socially distanced. Oh, we do have a question. What is the number of stoplights added and streetlights? Doug, do you want to speak to that?
You bet. So as far as the number of stoplights, we'll call them traffic signals at the with the Johnson Lane interchange segment. I'm going to scroll back to the map here, the overall map. Here we go. So just this segment alone, there will be traffic signals associated with the intersection here. There'll actually be a handful of traffic signals with the crossovers. There's ones for the traffic signals associated with the on and off ramps and for the crossovers on both ends. There'll be a new signal here. This is already a signalized intersection, so this one will be reconstructed, and then also a traffic signal here. Now we are also lighting the entire corridor. So street lights will be constructed as well, even under deck lighting. Like I mentioned during the presentation, there is this diverging diamond goes underneath. The orange lines, kind of orangish red lines that you see along the map here are actually pedestrian paths, whether it's just a 5-foot sidewalk, 7-foot sidewalk, or like a 10-foot multi-use path. We want to make sure that everyone's visible, make sure that everybody understands where which way the roadway is going, where curbs are, things like that. And so this Johnson Lane will be lit for safety, and that is what's anticipated for this segment. Going back to the overall, since I'm on this slide, I'll use the map over here on the left. There is a new signal. There's an existing signal up here at 87 and 312 and Main Street. This new intersection that will be reconstructed up here will also be a signalized intersection. And that is it for what is currently planned on the project. Recognizing that as traffic grows in this area along this corridor, there may be additional signal warrant studies, we call them, as time goes on, whether that's 5 or 10 or 15 or 30 years from now. There may be other intersections that we anticipate seeing a traffic signal or some other type of control, whether it's a roundabout, but nothing anticipated at this time. Some of those intersections potentially could be Hawthorne, could be Bitterroot, could be Dover, 5 Mile, could be maybe some kind of gateway entrance into this area here as it develops, if it develops, when it develops, how it develops, and potentially another one could be here with the Sandon and Colson intersection there. So those will all be stop controlled intersections at the day of opening, but then MDTs, just through their traffic planning process, will be monitoring safety and traffic volumes along the entire corridor, as they do with all their miles of highways and interstates, well, not interstates, but highways throughout the state, to make sure that the best intersection control is in place. Good question.
Thanks, Doug. Any other questions, comments? Please feel free. Doug put the contact information back up there too. So as you simmer on the information we presented today, you can certainly reach out with any other thoughts, perspectives, questions. We are happy to respond to those. We'll give it just another couple minutes for you to put in any questions into the Q&A button before we wrap things up. We certainly do appreciate everyone taking the time out to join us today. Important updates to the project that we most definitely wanted to get out to the public. Okay. Well, Rod, do you want to give a few parting words?
Yeah, thank you, Lisa. I guess I just want to express my appreciation, you guys, for everybody joining us today. We have really been making a concentrated effort to try to get as much participation from the public as possible. We want to interact. We want to answer your questions. We want to hear your concerns. So again, thank you for joining us today, and maybe we'll see you again tonight. So thank you.
Thanks, Rod. Well, with that, I'm going to go ahead and end this virtual meeting. But as always, please feel free to reach out anytime. We are always happy for your participation. Again, thanks very much, everyone.